Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. How are you guys doing? Friday evening, just 9:30, and we're here to talk anything to do with City. You guys have got questions to ask? I'm here, fire them away. I'll try my best to answer your questions. The agenda for tonight. What's on the agenda for tonight? Well, I'm going to focus on, and they're all small topics, but hey, guys, you know how it is. We're going to talk about what we can. There's Couto. So let's talk about him going out on loan to Leeds United. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Claudio Bravo and what he might be doing next season. We will talk about, who else should we talk about? Leroy Sané. I think very briefly, since Cobby's not knocking about. We'll talk about Matchday staff and what's happening to their pay. And anything else you guys want to talk about. Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about. Just going to stick this up on Twitter. So we try and get a few people involved. Just a few, don't need millions. Could do just with a few people on the channel tonight, and we'll have a chat. I'm just gonna, as I said, tweet this to Man City and a couple of people. Let's ask Cobby. Cobby's knocking about. Be nice to get Cobby. Let's just see if there's anybody else. So, as I said, sign up this new account on Twitter is extremely not easy because it used to be everybody I used to have that I could write to. I could just start typing, the names would come up, all gone. So I'm really struggling a bit to get the same, people that were involved before. I'm trying my best, and we'll see how that goes. So let's see if anybody's in the house, or am I on my own? Hi, Chris Welch. How you doing, buddy? Starting a job at Morrison next Friday. Can't wait. Haven't had a job since. Fantastic, mate. And if anybody else is struggling for work, I hear Asda looking, was it for 5,000 or 15,000 new staff? I think Lidl or Aldi were looking for 2,500. So a lot of people looking for new staff. Hi, Bernard. Hope you're well. Used to work at Altus. I got a phone call if I could help at my local store. So I'm at 4 a.m. Wow. Well done. Bit of extra money there, Bernard. Well done helping out in these tough times. Eddie Toland. Because if idiots stockpiling, I can't find people. Well, it's a shame, mate. It's a shame. I think it's all over the country. Just have to make do amend. Absolutely, Chris. Supermarkets, delivery drivers. I think Amazon are looking for a lot of new staff. Some of the takeaways or delivery, people like I think Domino's and others, they're looking for staff. Money's money, guys. In these troubled times, money's money. How you want to get it? I hope the whole staff pay being ignored thing is not true. We are too classy to do such a selfish act. I don't know. I don't know exactly what you mean. I will talk about it. As far as I understand it, people whose there's not enough information out yet. So we need to know a bit more about what the Chancellor of the Exchequer announced. Leave because for whatever reason, people who can't work, and I don't know the reasons. I'm really keen to find out what this includes. Yeah, is it if you're ill and you can't work for your company and you have to stay at home? Do you get paid? Is it because you're ill? Sorry. Could it one reason be you're ill? Could another be, for instance, you got to look after your kids? Yeah. So if you've got to look after your kids, what do you do? Is this going to cover that? So obviously, there's a lot more we need to know about what's been offered before we can say, yeah, it's a cracking idea. Right now, on the surface, it sounds like a brilliant idea. It does. I just want to make sure it's not a soundbite. It's not just something that sounds great. The government will cover up to 80%. They'll cover 80% of wages for people earning up to 2,500 a month. That's 30,000 a year. Sorry, guys, excuse me. So what they're saying is they will pay 2,000 of the 2,500 so that companies don't lay off staff, and they'll do that for 3 months. Because if you're think about it, if you're a company, let's say you're paying somebody 24 grand a year, that's 2,000 a month, okay, and you can't afford to because you got problems with your business. You can't afford to. Let's say you got an apprentice, you can't afford to pay that apprentice, you know, or whatever it could be. Okay, now what is saying is pay them 20%. So if you've got somebody, like I said, 24 grand a year, you pay them 20, the government will pay 80%. So it's, call it 25 grand. It makes it easy to work out. The government will pay 20 grand, you pay 5 grand. And that makes a huge difference to companies. And that's a year. So if you're looking at a month, you're looking at the government paying about 1,500 quid and you paying about 500 quid. Now that is more affordable. It's to cover 3 months. So a company could say, well, I can keep this person on, don't have to get rid of them, and the government will contribute 1,500 quid a month. I have to pay them 500 quid a month. I'll do that. Because if you're faced with paying somebody 2 grand a month for 3 months, you think, well, that's 6 grand. I can't afford it. I've got no money coming in and it's just too much for me to bear. And then you get rid of the staff. And when we're out of this issue, when we're out of this problem, I mean, that member of staff might have gone and taken another job somewhere, like delivery driver or whatever, warehouse staff, just to get some money. When this period of isolation and everything is over, whenever the economy starts picking up, we won't have the people in place to actually start work straight away. If it comes back in 3 months, a lot of people will be doing other jobs and they won't come back. So this is a way to keep people in jobs, and it's got to be applauded. But you've got to look at the small print, which we haven't been given the small print. So just waiting to hear what that small print is. Obviously, that's really crucial. It's crucial what the small print is, you know, what it's going to cover. Is it going to cover people, you know, if they're not sick? If it's just a company's laying them off? Lots and lots of stuff. One thing it doesn't do is help the self-employed. Okay, now it's going to be a matter of money, but you know, basically the government are offering up to £2,000 a month to, in effect, individuals. Up to, yeah, £2,500 a month, I think. Whatever, let's call it £2,000 a month to individuals who are employed. But to self-employed people, they're offering, I believe, statutory sick pay of £94, is it, a week? So that makes about 400 quid a month. It's a huge difference between 400 and 2,000. And I'm reading some friends who said, I can't get universal credit because my missus works, or I've got a little bit of savings. I don't want to be, you know, blasting all my savings there for my retirement or whatever it is. So there's an imbalance, and obviously we need to sort that imbalance out. Let's have a look. You're not going to sleep. You're going to get a couple of hours, Bernard. I mean, I don't want to be keeping you up all night, Bernard, you know, with this live stream. But you're going to get some respect to those working in shops, helping people. Absolutely. Respect to everybody in essential services. And the funny thing is, I put out a tweet today. I can't even remember the tweet. Nobody was bothered about these essential services until they needed the essential services. Yeah, you know, you got people who aren't paid enough for the work they do, like nurses, like hospital staff, like doctors. They do, you know, and other people, some of them do a really thankless task, and they're not, you know, healthcare assistants and care workers and people care about them, need them, and they're pulling out all the stops for us. Absolutely, you wouldn't get the workers, our families. Look, you know, it's a huge problem. Aaron, we went shopping at Asda at 8:30 and it was so busy. Aaron, I mean, and when I went earlier in this week, someone said they were queuing up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I've seen pictures of Asda's because they're opening now at 6 a.m. The 24-hour Asda's, they used to be open, you know, they start at 8 o'clock on a Monday and they never close till 10 o'clock on a Sunday, on a Saturday night. But now they're doing closing at 10 p.m. and opening at 6 because I guess there's not a lot of stock on the shelves and they can't restock the shelves if people are mulling around there. Whereas normally at nights, I used to do some shopping in the late hours or the early hours, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning or something. And there used to be hardly anybody in the shops. Now, you know, with all the problems we've got with stock, loads of people are there. So I can understand why they're doing that. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, I've seen pictures, people piling in to get in. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely, Chris. You know, and look, it's a starting point, and you never know where that's going to take you. So fantastic, well done to you. It's extremely well thinking afford to continue. Well, that's the point I'm going to talk about. You wouldn't get it. So let's talk about that first, okay? Now, there's a lot of consternation about in casual staff at City, you know, Matchday staff who are working on in stewards, working as security staff, working in the hospitality, or working behind the bar or food outlets, whatever. Okay, now they're trying to ask City, trying to get some information what's going to happen to them, because some people really rely on the extra money that they get every couple of weeks from City. Now City apparently haven't said anything. Now other clubs, some clubs have said we'll keep paying people because, hey, you know, we rely on them when we need them, so we're going to help them in their time of need as well. Now Brighton, last week when their game against Arsenal was postponed, they said they will pay their staff for the game, even though they're not there, and they'll pay them for the rest of the season. So I assume for every home game they've got left, whether it's 4 or 5, they'll pay their staff as normal. Now, you know, they're looking at it from, I think, the sensible and the right moral viewpoint, because it's not going to cost them. It'll cost. Look, don't get me wrong. It's going to cost them many thousands of pounds to do this every week, every other week, whatever. So it might cost them 50 grand. It might cost them 100 grand. But they rely on these people. You know, if you turn your back on them now, then maybe they'll turn their back on you when you need them, when football starts again. So City have got to sort this out. Hi, Muckun, hope you're well. I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. After 12 days, a couple of days gone, Wednesday, I went out for my first run, 3 miles. I had the day off yesterday. I went out for a run today, 3 miles. And as long as we're allowed to go out, I'm going to do some running as much, hopefully every other day, at least 12 to 15 miles a week. That's my target. Hopefully a little bit more, but I'm going to try and do that to try and keep fit. I put on a lot of weight. You can tell by my face in the last 6 months, especially. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to try and do some intermittent fasting as well. So I think that's you know, to help me lose. I need to lose I could do with losing 6 or 7 kilograms straight away. I need to lose about 10 from what I was at the beginning of this week. So it's really tough when, you know, it's a bit crappy that you can't go out, you can't do your sports, you can't do your martial arts, you can't go down the gym, lift weights, all sorts of stuff. You can't have your normal busy life. You know, so I'm going to try, and I'm just going to say, guys, try and do as much as you can safely, obviously, safely, before, just in case something happens. I mean, maybe in 10 days' time, we're in a lockdown situation, and like France, you need to have printed a form out and to have a specific reason to be outside your house. So, you know, for the next week or whatever, however long we still have, I'll do as much as I can. Hopefully this weekend I'll go walking on the malls with the family, you know, even just for half an hour or an hour. It's going to make such a difference for my kids. We went out in the backyard. That's it today. We went out in the backyard. One lad was on his bike, the bike without brakes. It's got one brake that don't work and one brake that you touch it and it locks up. So I don't know where he got that bike from. It's not very good. Probably just buy. Someone offered it for free and said it's worth a lot of money. Come and take it for free. So hey, you don't see any problem with that. But yeah, it needs a few quid spent on it. It's not something that you could use. It's already been semi-refurbished once, and I need to take it specially to get the brake sorted out. Probably not a big issue, but it's not. It's like a free transfer. It's like a free transfer. It's not as free as you believe it is going to be. But go out, do some exercise, keep busy. So times, credit to everyone chipping in. Absolutely, Muckund. Mighty Red supermarkets look like the only ones that be open. Well, I think Mighty Reds at the moment, they said takeaways can still be open. Or, is it takeaways or deliveries? So they can still be open. Obviously, you're going to end up with some shops open and stuff, but there's not going to be too much soon. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. supposed to be for the absolutely great Bernard. Yeah, they're starting to introduce it. I spoke to Asda yesterday because we had a delivery and we ordered stuff on Saturday, and we didn't order anything excessive. A little bit of olive oil, I think 4 bags of pasta. I mean, it's 4 in our house, so 4 bags of pasta. A little bit of soap, a couple of the soap, whatever they call it, dispensers, a couple of them. So nothing excessive. Normal shopping. I think we got ordered a 6-pack or 2 6-packs of water, bits and pieces, just to help us get by. And they had hardly anything that we ordered, hardly anything. And in the end, because they wrote to me, Missy sent her an email saying basically we haven't got all of this stuff. We ended up with just a lot of crap, honestly. A few fizzy drinks, some Vimto, chocolate, lots of chocolate. It's not what we wanted. It wasn't even in our original order, because I put the original order in. So to lose a lot of stuff, it is really bad. It is absolutely terrible. Yeah, so I had a chat with Asda, because I said, because they weren't doing it. Other supermarkets had started it, and they said, oh no, nobody else is doing it. I put them right. It started from what I saw in Northern Ireland with Iceland, the food warehouse, and then other shops started doing it, and Asda just copying in, because they've got to copy. You can't be left behind in this. You can't be made to look bad. Absolutely, Chris. It's terrible. Eddie told him, why do people? I don't know, Eddie. People have got their priorities wrong. My mate told me, hi mate, how you doing? Awful. 24 hours, 6,000 new cases, 626. I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but I've got to be honest. I don't look at the new cases that much, my mate Stormy, because it's hard to tell actually how many new cases. This country is just a waste for that, because we've not been testing. 627 deaths is a massive concern. It's not going down. It's like it has phases where it's steady, it drops a little, and then it shoots up. So that's the worry. I'll talk a little bit about it. In Spain, we've had I think a record number of deaths, 213. France dropped a bit today, to 78, but still 78 is still a lot. UK, I think, has had 40 from the figures I've got from the website I use. But look, that's nearly 1,000 people in just those 4 countries. 840, 880, 960 people in those 4 countries. Then you've got other countries like Belgium. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to talk too much about. I know some people don't like it, but you got to face facts as well, guys. We can't hide from things like this. So you look at something like Italy, 627, Spain, currently it stands at 219, Iran, 149, Germany, 23. That's a very big increase on Germany, because they've only had 67 deaths previously. And so we were, you had someone like, who was it? Alistair Campbell asking, why is Germany at such a few low numbers? Well, today is up by 23. That's a worry. The USA up by 26. France, as I said, up by 78. Switzerland up by 13 for a relatively small country. That's a lot. South Korea only by 3. The UK by, well, this one page that says 33. It really depends where you look and when they did their measuring. Some people, I think the WHO had complaints against them because they changed their system of measuring, or their timeline of measuring. So it was not great. Netherlands, small country, up by 30. Belgium up by 16. These are not great numbers. And most of the countries not too bad. Turkey up by 5. Greece up by 4. Up by 7 in Indonesia. It's obviously to put in that will slow it, but I still say we're a bit behind. Some markets have a special 2 elderly only. That's fantastic. You wouldn't get it. As they have 3 hours 6 to 9, but you can't stop others coming in, so plenty still do. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what the ages are. How do you ask? If you're disabled, do you get in? Are you allowed? If is it over 60s? I don't know. Eddie Toland, I agree. People should be suffer if you're like the guy in Isle of Man. He got nabbed. He was supposed to self-isolate, and he can face a fine of, I can't remember what it was, 1,000 or 10,000, and up to 6 months in prison or something. I mean, at the moment he's locked up in a prison cell. Pray for Italy. Absolutely, you wouldn't get it. Hi, Anderson. Hope you're well, buddy. Let's just look through. India, Pakistan, Turkey with a combined population of 1.5 billion, the death rate is really low. Yeah, look, one of the things in those countries, especially, and some of them anyway, you don't get the same amount of travel that you get in Italy, in Spain, in France, in England, in UK. Obviously, with the skiing season, you got a lot of people who are going to Italy to ski, and they've come back with the virus and passed it on. You don't get, I don't believe. I mean, France is the biggest. France has the most tourists that go to it anywhere in the world. Spain is second. Okay, and a lot of people are going to obviously Italy for the skiing. France used to have 75 million visitors a year. I think 15 in Paris alone. I think that dropped a lot after the Charlie Hebdo stuff. But you know, that's absolutely been hammered. So you don't get the same number of visitors in other countries as you get in, let's say, some of the Western European countries, where it's relatively easy and cheap to fly. You know, you're not going to get, for instance, like Pakistan, you're not going to get a lot of Indians coming to Pakistan, not a lot of people from Afghanistan, China, and you know, the countries around it. You'll get people from around the world coming, but it's not in the same numbers as they're flying to the UK and Western Europe. So, but you've got to ask yourself why they're, you know, also you've got to ask yourself, are they reporting it and properly? Are they detecting, you know, if someone dies of pneumonia, are they saying, well, the person died on the death certificate, is just saying pneumonia, or is it COVID-induced pneumonia? Yeah. Or whatever, you know. So you got to label, sadly, the deaths properly. Real Madrid striker Jovic is in deep trouble after being spotted outside in the Serbian streets. I don't know what the rules are in Serbia. You wouldn't get it. You know, in some countries, you're still, like in France, you're still allowed to go out and exercise for a maximum of 30 minutes within 150 meters of your house. There's a big problem where people running. Police stopped some people, and they were like many kilometers from their house because they were running like, you know, for an hour, or people going on long cycle rides, bike rides, just to get around the exemptions. People in Spain taking their dogs for walks, for long walks, basically socializing. People pretending to have dogs. You know, I saw a video posted by, I think, one of the Spanish police forces, where they got this guy. He had a toy dog on wheels and a piece of string just pulling it along to break the rules. I just say grab them. They might think it's funny. Lock them up straight away. That's the only way to get people to start listening. Toland, Chris, you should have gone shopping and used garden. Mukun, the cases in India are increasing. The numbers are low because, absolutely, Mukun, that's right. Very little testing, but it's picking up. Oh, I got a lot of views. Well, got our buddies on, guys. Got 21 down ticks. We know who they are. We know who they are. We know 21 down ticks. At least I get 21 views from them, and we know it's not 21 actual people. But anyway, if they're, I mean, come on, are there is a few certain people? Are this? I've got to say this. Are they sad enough and bored enough, so bored that in this, you know, at 10 o'clock at night, with all that's going on in the country, they're logging on with their different accounts to give a down tick? Is that all? Just after game, yeah. When I was putting that study, no down, relatively few like ticks. Out. No down ticks. The people who are doing the people who are antics, and then they'll go on their own and talk and say, "No, he's so paranoid." Not paranoid. It's so damn obvious. It's so obvious that game on no down ticks. stream the other night. Was it 11:30? 26 up to 0 down ticks. Does that mean 11 at night? Yeah. But by the next day, in the early hours of in the morning, still hardly anything. And then suddenly the down ticks exploded. So who is wasting their time coming on the channel to give it down ticks? And you usually, depending on what time you come on between 9 and 10, bang, they're in there really quick. So it looks like some people, the people who are giving the down ticks, it's always the same sort of number. And it's only a few people, there's not many doing this from what our records are showing. So if you're on at a certain time, you get inundated with down ticks. But if you come on at 11:30 at night or after a game, when other people are doing their live streams, you don't get any down ticks whatsoever. What a coincidence. Not paranoia. It's not paranoia. We know who you are, and you're sad. My mate Stormy, I don't know. I mean, it really depends who you talk to. Let's just read your comments. Self-isolated chipmunks coming out. Absolutely, you wouldn't get it. It is right. So not embarrassing for me. So down ticks. I hear stories that down ticks affect whether you're going to be recommended or not on YouTube for other people to look. I mean, you know, it is pathetic mucking, but hey, what can you do? They don't care. Look, Mighty Red, they don't care. As I said many times, I'm not saying who's doing the down ticks, but if you are raising money, this is the only point I'm going to say about this. If you're raising money for Tackle for Manchester and you had the auction back in May, early June, I don't know when people paid you for the pictures, for Leslie Ross pictures, and you're getting money from the channel, from YouTube, why don't you pay it over? Why by Christmas or January had you not paid apparently a single penny over to Tackle for Manchester for all that? That's what it seems like. And saying we're going to wait till we get to 3,000. It's blooming cold at Christmas. You could have paid, I don't know how much money they had. You could have paid 500 or 1,000 quid to Tackle for Manchester to be used immediately if you actually cared. And here's the point. If you actually cared about the charity, if you cared about the homeless, you'd have paid money up in regular doses. You wouldn't be waiting until you get 3 grand in and pay it in one big chunk to say, hey, look, let's get some publicity. We paid 3 grand. Let's try and get some pictures with Tackle for Manchester, handing over a 3 grand check, because that's all you do. That's all you're doing it for. It shows what you're doing it for. You're doing it for the publicity. You're doing it for a little bit of hits and clicks and whatever. Oh, they're really great guys. You know, that fat chipmunk is a really great guy. Yeah. He's a really great guy. Let's go and follow and subscribe to his channel. No, it doesn't mean that. It means he's a selfish, loathsome, odious buffoon. Pay the money on a regular basis. Help people in their times of need. In their time of need. And you're sitting on the money so you can get publicity. You are disgusting and despicable. We knew that anyway. We knew that last year from the things you were doing. I knew it for the last 2 years. Okay? But this is extremely low. So hold on to money simply for publicity over. By January, I believe, I hadn't handed any money over. Maybe for some early things, I think, you know, but he used Tackle for Manchester, the auction, to get them signed, to get the prints signed by the players. Give them money. If you get money from YouTube and you say it's all going to go to Tackle for Manchester, give it on a regular basis. Give it on a regular basis. Don't sit on it so you can get some publicity, you odious oaf. I don't know, Bernard. The problem is you don't know about the YouTube algorithm. All you hear is what other people say. So it is a bit hearsay. You haven't got any proof, but YouTube don't come out and say anything. So, you know, some people are making it up. We just don't know. Absolutely, get rid of the down ticks. That's it. It will make a huge difference. Anyway, let's go on to some chit chat about what we've got to chit chat about. Some of it's a bit daft. Okay, I saw something today, and it said City are not going to. City are going to let Claudio Bravo go on a free at the end of the season. Guess what, guys? This is a national newspaper saying that City are going to let Claudio Bravo go on a free at the end of the season. Guess what? I'll let you into a secret, guys. I'll let you into a secret. Claudio Bravo is out of contract at the end of the season. So if he chooses to leave, City can't stop him. Unless there's a clause in his contract to say City can extend for 12 months, hit that option, which I've not heard anything about, nothing leaked about that, then how can City keep him? We can't keep him. It's his choice. So, hey, national newspaper, I can't remember which one it was. I only saw the headline. Hey, national newspaper, what a load of tosh. Okay? That's the first thing. Sané, there's rumours in, once again, obviously that he's going to go to Bayern. The rumours are it's going to be 90 million quid. What an utter load of rubbish. Okay? If we are not allowed to make transfers this summer until all this is over, then how can he go? There's so many unknowns out there. I just don't believe this rubbish. Now, it might come to pass that he goes for 90 million or 80 million or whatever, but we don't know. Can you imagine Bayern if they can't play football till December? Let's say, in my personal belief, I don't think it's going to take 6 months, but I'm not sure how to get over the peak. If the government are right and it's going to take about 3 to 4 months to get to the peak, and then let's go the other side a couple of months, that's still 6 months. I think it could be less to get to the peak, to be honest, because, and I'll mention it, I'll tell you why. If everybody is in lockdown, yeah, and so everybody's in lockdown, and the people who aren't in lockdown, the essential workers and whatever, and people take proper precautions, and everybody does everything right, then surely in 4 to 6 weeks, the incidence of new disease will be dropped to a very low level because nobody's out there passing it on. I don't think it's going to work like that, but that is the utopian idea. If people, but then as soon as people start mixing it, so that's got. So who knows what's going to happen with Sané? If you don't play football again till January, then Real Madrid are going to say, why are we going to pay, Bayern Munich are going to say, why are we going to pay 90 million quid for the guy when we can get him in 6 months' time for now and maybe pay him 40, 50 million euros as a signing on fee? We saved ourselves 40, 50 million euros. Stands to reason. All right, if you're off, Bernard, take it easy, mate. Take it easy, mate, and enjoy your day's work. Zach Steffen, absolutely, you want to get. I talked about Zach Steffen the other day, and I said it looks like he's going to get a chance. And I said it since last summer. I said he looks like the one that can go out on loan and come back, because I said nobody comes back. Nobody comes who's been on loan, And Aaron Muric did only because Bravo was injured, so that's an anomaly. Zinchenko was sold and we got him back because we could make money on him, but nobody else has been on loan and come back. Angelino, okay, went on loan 3 times, but we sold him and then we got him back. So it looks like Zach Steffen, and I said last summer he could be the one to challenge Edison, or at least come back and be a very good number 2 and be one of the few people that do come back. I think he's 24 years old, good age. It might be number 2 for next season, and then see what happens. Right. What else am I? We've done Couto, Jan Couto, Jan the man. Let's just see what your comments are. You wouldn't get it. Edison seems to be regressing this season. He's been mediocre this season. Zach can absolutely. I said that. I said at the start of the season, it looked like he was He was a bit better at shot stopping, but his kicking had gone down. And I think he looks casual and calm and relaxed and all that, but I think he's lost a little bit of his edge. Partly because he's not under any pressure whatsoever. The first season he came, he was under pressure from Claudio Bravo, because Claudio Bravo just lost his place. He was first choice. He'd lost his place to Edison. Edison had to deliver. Last season, he had Aaron Muric. I don't think Aaron Muric really pushed him, but he probably maintained a high level because he set a high standard. He wanted to maintain that. And this season, like a few other players, he's dropped off the ball a bit because he's got no pressure on him. we could resume football. No, Chris, the only way we're going to resume football, mate, by May, sometime in May, is if they're behind closed doors, because they're not going to let people out. Because if we get and I believe this is what should happen, and I don't know why they're not telling us this should happen, because they want to say, hey, look, we did a great job. No, what should be happening if for the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks to the end of April, people end up being locked down, and we are testing like crazy, contact tracing like crazy, and looking after people better, okay, and looking after our vulnerable in society better, we may end up with a very low level of the virus out there, okay, people with live cases. Then we might be able to do some games behind closed doors. Some of the clubs want it. Some of the players will want to play football. Yes, it's not great having no fans. Companies want it because they're probably losing money hand over fist at the moment from sponsorship and advertising and stuff. And they're paying their staff and they're not getting money in. I don't know. Obviously, there's talk about they can get some money back from the Premier League, from their contract, but whatever. So it'll be behind. They will not let fans go back into the stadium because one or two people have got it. It'll start spreading again. They can't have mass participation, mass events. So it might be just behind closed doors. Maybe not even with journalists. Who knows what it's going to be? But it'll all have, and everybody will have to be really, really well screened. So I'm not so sure. Jan Couto. Let's talk about Jan Couto. We got this kid from Brazil. He's 17 years old. 18 in 2nd or 3rd of June, which is when he should be coming over. It's less than 4 months away. April, May, June, 3 months, less than 3 months away. Now he's an exciting prospect. He's only played 2 games for his club in Brazil, 2 senior games. Coritiba, can't remember now. But anyway, Coritiba. It's terrible memory. But anyway, he's only played 2 senior games, but he's played in the Under-17 World Cup, helped Brazil win it. Great at creating goals, assisting in goals, got apparently good energy up and down that pitch all day long. He's got that eye for a pass, eye for an assist, lots of very good attributes about him. So obviously when he comes, he will not get a work permit in this country at City. We saw that with Douglas Luiz. He didn't get one for 2 seasons because he's not played for the national team. Simple as that. Now, the other option is, like we ended up with Douglas Luiz, we sold him to Aston Villa, who said he was going to be an important player for us, even though he hadn't got played for the Brazil national team. He got the work permit partly because of the money they spent, 15 million quid, and partly because they said, yes, we're definitely going to be, he's a really important player in our team. City couldn't guarantee, couldn't say that he's going to play lots of games for them because look at the quality of our squad. So the same issue is going to be there for Jan Couto, and there's talk today that he's going to be loaned out to Leeds. Now that's, if Leeds are still in the Championship, if we still haven't finished the Championship season, and he goes there, yeah, that's an option. I think they'll get a work permit in the Championship, quite possibly. If he, that's certainly a better chance than at City. And if Leeds are in the Premier League, they might not go for him because they might say, well, we don't need him. But that's all. Once again, it's all conjecture, and we just don't know. That's the truth, guys. We just don't know about that. But anyway, that's Jan Couto. That's kind of it for today, guys. If you've got any questions, I've got another minute, and if any good questions come in, come on, guys, get those questions in if you want. I'm not a big fan of cold coffee. After 40 minutes, your coffee is cold. 10:15. But what I will say, I'll just talk some generally. I'm on the radio tomorrow. Guys, if you are interested, Love Sports Radio, 6:45 in the evening. I was on Love Sports last Saturday, and they wanted me to talk about the situation with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and they wanted to talk about FFP again and CAS and all that. So I did. So I talked about that. So at least I'd like to think someone values my opinion on the coronavirus. Unfortunately, we've had one person, actually it was only one person, who has been a little bit off But they've been a little bit off about a few subjects, so they got their deserved ban from the channel. I think they've been another very sneaky one who thought, let's not rock the boat for a few weeks and then let's start shit stirring, and that's what they were. So I wonder where they came from, whether they were legit or not. But hey, it's not paranoia. It's very obvious when someone's just caught stirring for the sake of it. Do I miss VAR? Well, I've had no footsie for when was the last game of footsie we had? Was it Sheffield? Must be Sheffield Wednesday. No, the derby. Oh, we lost in the derby to Man United. So that's the last game of footsie we had. The Arsenal game was cancelled, or postponed, whatever. The Burnley game and the Real Madrid. So we've missed out on 3 games already, and this weekend will be, can't remember who we're playing. Was it Spurs? It'll be the 4th game anyway. Apart from the logistics, we might need to finish the season just to get some closure. Well, look, I think that's what it's all going to be pushed for. What you're going to have is a lot of teams want to finish the season purely from a financial standpoint. If you stop the season, cancel the season or whatever, this season, home games. Now, Sky might get... No, can you see the double whammy? There was talk that Sky would ask for £750 million back if we don't finish the season. Okay? Now, can you imagine splitting that between 20 clubs? They could lose, let's say, 30 million each. Potentially. £30 million each. Lose the match day income. And I reckon Spurs could lose 20, 25 million. Other clubs, obviously not so much. City, for instance, we have about 50, 55 million pounds a season match day income. We have a little bit less than 2 million a game. But we, this season, have got 5 home games. We had the Real Madrid game. That's 6. If we got through, we'd have another game, that's 7. Maybe another game in the Champions League as well. We could have had another 8 games this season. About, I reckon, 16 to 20. We could have even got 20 million. Can you imagine a game against whoever? A game against PSG in the semi-finals of the Champions League. City would sell tickets like hotcakes. So I reckon City are going to miss out on about 20 million quid there. And if you miss out on 30 million from the TV company, that's 50 million quid you're out of pocket for. So you can see why they want to finish the season in one way or the other. Now, you might end up 25 or 30 million out of pocket, but it's better than 50 million out of pocket. Can you not see, someone like Bournemouth, they might not be that massively bothered if they avoid relegation, whatever way. But from what I'm talking about from the gate receipts, they're not bothered because, let's say Bournemouth, they've even got 5 games left. They get 12,000 fans at home. How much money is that going to bring in with program sales and food? Spurs, I was reading last season, we're getting £800,000 a game just from restaurants, hospitality, food, I guess food and drink. £800,000 a game, plus they're getting 60,000 fans there. And, some of the hospitality is very expensive. I know a guy I spoke to him a couple of years back. He had a season. When this was before he even got there, he was paying £4,000 a season for a season ticket. We had some hospitality involved, but £4,000 a season. Heck of a lot of money. So it's a lot of money that they're going to miss out on, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're going to push to finish the season, to get the money from Sky if they can, to get the money through the gate receipts if they can, to get as much money as possible. For financial reasons, as I said, some clubs could lose 50 million quid, and they don't want to have a short season next season and just play one game. Can you imagine just playing one game instead of against clubs? Instead of playing 19 home and away, you end up playing 19 in total. Wow. Massive, massive issues. Same for West Brom and Leeds, absolutely. Sad to see the fans not witnessing, absolutely, but it could be the way it is. I'd like the games played whenever it becomes possible. I think that's the least unfair way to do it, Mukund. Absolutely, Mighty Red. As I said many times, I said we should be dropping the internationals, dropping the Nations League, dropping the Carabao Cup, maybe dropping the FA Cup, or at least they won't have any replays in the FA Cup, and maybe that will be the end of the FA Cup replays forever. I think it's wrong. You look at someone like Rochdale, who are losing about 250 grand by not playing their last 6 home games at the moment. But they're going to survive because of what they've done on and off the pitch. I mean, in the last couple of seasons, they played Man United. Did they beat Newcastle? They played, I think, Newcastle, Man United, and Spurs in the League Cup or FA Cups. So that's brought a lot of money to the club, an absolute shed load of money to the club, which is going to get them through these tough times. If they're trying to put the minds to it, I'm sure you can make anything possible. Just let it happen. Don't go crazy, forcing it to happen. Let it happen. It'll happen naturally. It'll happen naturally. Funny thing, guys, I tell you a funny thing. I'm just about to leave. I just had a look at the down ticks. And why is it, since I last talked about this, 20 minutes ago, we've had no down ticks? I mean, if the video's that bad, then surely we'd have had a load more down ticks. Why is it always concentrated in a short space of time? Why is it? Might read they're too desperate to try to be in time for next season. They want me to look. You can delay it by dropping the Carabao Cup. Now that's not going to make a massive difference. But if you drop the Nations League or international games for next season, you free up 8 slots for football. 8 slots for football. I did some calculations. You can finish the Premier League season in about 5 to 6 months. Add on a little bit of time for the Champions League and whatever, Europe. But most teams are not going to notice that. They're just going to have, a lot of teams are just going to have 38 games in the Premier League. Some of them, are going to have 1 game in the Carabao Cup and 1 game in the FA Cup. Some of them, most teams will have no more than 41 or 42 games. So you can squeeze that in 21 weeks, which is less than 6 months. You can squeeze it in a season in 6 months. Okay, and if you drop the Carabao Cup, you're gonna have even less. Most teams won't have more than 40 games in the Premier League. In the Championship, most teams won't have more than 50 games. That's it. So you can. Okay, it's harder for in the Championship. It's going to take you about 27, 28 weeks, but you can squeeze that Premier League season into 26 weeks if you really want to, playing every 3 or 4 days. It's not great on the players, but you can do it. So we'll see. All right, guys, take it easy. I'm not bothered, Chris. I'm commenting on it just as a matter of showing how desperate they are. I mean, this channel's getting a few hundred views a video. We've got 1,500 subscribers. Why should that worry other people? Focus on what you're doing and make sure you do a good job. Let's have why don't you spend your time? Focus your energy on making sure you do a better job and you get your facts right. Yeah? You get your facts right. Don't say, oh, I don't know why. I don't understand it. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong. Why? About the Arsenal. Why aren't they self-isolating for 14 days once this guy has come out and, once the owner of Olympiacos has come out and said he's got the coronavirus, COVID-19. Why aren't they isolating for 14 days after he's got it? Because you deluded old fool, you don't know what you're talking about. And I tell you what, if you can't get the basics like that right, what the hell are you teaching? What the hell are you training your clients? What the hell are you doing? What are you doing, going around training people when you can't get the basics right? Something as basic as that. It's from 40. The rules, and he has no idea why they're there, because the idea is within 14 days you'd have got it or not. That's why it's 14 days. And since you last had contact with him 12 days ago, there's only 2 days left of that self-isolation period. Because let's not go into it. It's simple. It's like saying 1 + 1 = 2, and this oaf can't do that. And he's out there training people on security or whatever, safety. Please, I'd rather use someone a little bit more professional, someone with a little bit more integrity, not a big, fat, lying, cheating, thieving oaf. And I'll keep saying this about him because he deserves it. He deserves it every single time. Cheers, guys. I'm going to hit the road. It's 10:30. 10:30. Now, you'd think after that, I'd get some more down ticks, but no down ticks, no more for the last, 30 minutes, no down ticks. Why? If this is such a rubbish stream, you fat idiot, why is nobody else coming on? Anyway, let's have a good night, guys. Guys, look after yourselves. Stay fit, stay physically fit. If you can, do some exercise, even if it's just climbing up, even if it's just going up and down the stairs for half an hour. Do something. My eldest lad, 20 minutes on the bike today. He's really keen. He's really keen. The guy's growing fast. He's really growing fast. He's almost as tall as me. He's only 12 years old, almost as tall as me. And my little one, who's 11, I've asked him to stop punching me. Because he punches me without gloves in basically my stomach. And I said, you've got to stop because it's hurting. He hit me about 6 or 7 times, was it yesterday? And it's all red. I said, you've got to stop hitting me. And the other one comes along. He said, come on, got to let me have a go. If you let him have a go, you got to let me have a go. And he wound up and he absolutely smacked me. But he was a bit of a low blow, not too low. But I tell you what, he's packing a punch now. Packing a punch, almost my height. And good luck to the lad. He's getting a bit of power. I can't have him punching me without any gloves on anymore. Absolutely not worth it. I'm going to double up. I remember last year he punched his brother because my brother-in-law used to watch him punch me in the stomach, and I could take it. I was doing my own martial arts. I was doing my sit-ups. My stomach was I was solid enough. I could take his punches, and he hadn't done a lot of boxing. But I remember he hit my knee, collapsed because he wasn't expecting it and he wasn't capable of taking it. Right, guys, I'm going to shoot. I've got a lot of messages. I absolutely inundated with messages because people are asking me about the. I'll tell you, they're asking me about the new financial measures or the reliefs offered today. I'm trying to find out more myself and find out what's going on. People are asking me a lot of stuff. So very, very busy. You guys, as I said, do some exercise, look after yourselves. Physical fitness helps with your mental fitness. So do that. Look after yourselves. Eat well. If people are out there hoarding all the pastas and the rice and stuff like that, and the bog roll, eat fresh. Go and eat fresh. A lot of fresh if you can get it. I mean, most of the times I've been to the supermarket, the fresh food is still there, still available because people are not thinking. A lot of that fresh food can be fresh for 7 to 10 days. Why don't you eat healthy for 7 to 10 days? It's bonkers. Guys, look after yourselves. And I will catch you tomorrow, no doubt. See you around, Blues.